it sounds a bit weird, but I find it a really mindful activity. So I work out. Obviously, it's nice to be fit. I like to be strong. Like I feel empowered by that. But my main reason for working out is because it's good for my mental health and my mental well-being. And from that, everything feels better. And yeah, I mean, the actual process of working out, it's the social interaction. And it's the fact that you don't, like you say, you don't think about anything else. You just think about how am I going to lift this weight and how am I going to do it with good form, get the most out of it. Yeah, it is a very mindful activity.
Welcome to the Stronger, Fitter, Happier podcast. I'm your host, Vin, and today I am joined by somebody very special. I say that about everyone who's going to come on now.
Oh, I thought it was special.
You are special, and I'll tell everybody why. So, this is Shima Shah, and she is someone I have been training for a very, very long time, and up until recently. And she is a very good friend and a Body+Beyond member. So, Shima, you are on this podcast because I feel you're an inspiring person who has gone on their own journey to become stronger, fitter, and happier. And I feel by sharing your story, you'll be able to help other people become stronger, fitter, and happier than they were yesterday. So, without any further ado, Shima, who are you without saying I am Shima?
Oh my God, the pressure. So I'm Shima.
I said without saying I am Shima. You can say how old you are.
I'm going to be 40 this year, and I'm really looking forward to it.
People will not believe that you look 40. I know I make old jokes with you, but you don't look 40 at all.
Well, shall I tell everyone you found my first white hair in the gym?
Yeah, go on.
That was my first, and it's my only white hair. So I'm hanging on. So I've been training. I don't know how long, about 9 years, 10
around
years?
That, yeah.
Don't know. And what else? I work for the NHS. I have a cat who's famous in my mind. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, really.
Well, you don't have to say anything, but I will dig and I will ask some questions about you. So, one thing that we like to ask when, just to kind of get a bit more information about who you are and how you kind of fit things around your life that basically help you become stronger, fitter, and happier. What do you do for a living? You said you work for the NHS. What do you do?
So I'm an optometrist at Moorfields Eye Hospital. I've been working there for 18 years. I've survived it so far. Like with any job, there are ups and downs, and there are aspects of my job that make me pull my hair out. But on the whole, I feel like I'm really lucky to do my job. I feel like I make a difference. It gives me a sense of purpose. And COVID's been a really interesting time.
I guess.
Tough. And there've been some really kind of bad moments with that, but also some really amazing stuff's come out of it. So it's been a funny old year.
Yeah, I can imagine. For anyone who's working in the NHS, it's been probably a absolutely crazy time.
Oh, I think it's been a crazy time for all of us, regardless of what you do, how you do it. You know, everyone's just been through their own weird journey this year. So,
yeah. And how have you managed it in terms of like the shift with what you did before and your schedule now? Because you're someone who's had maybe a unique journey, because one, you work for the NHS, so you still have to go into work into a environment that is probably not, I wouldn't say it's unsafe, but probably a scary environment from a mental perspective to go into. And the other thing is you live alone as well. So the first part of the pandemic, when you weren't literally allowed to see anyone, regardless of whether you were, living alone or not, that must have been quite challenging to navigate. And then everything's closed as well, so it's not like you can go anywhere and do anything. So how did you find that, like when you going back a year now?
Yeah. So yeah, it's actually the year's been really interesting because the year has been a weird journey within itself. Um, so so at work, the anxiety amongst all of us was building from January. So it was really odd because we were walking. You walk around in sort of the normal world, and everyone's going around their business, and you get to work, and it's all COVID, 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 and particularly in February when we were already starting making plans and we were panicking really. I think that's fair to say. And everyone was carrying on with their normal life and we were like, what is going on? But I think the thing that kept us going in lockdown one was the sense of team within all of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, from a personal perspective, as you said, I live alone. And in lockdown one, we weren't bubbled. We weren't allowed to bubble at that time. So, you know, I have family down the road I'm now bubbled with. It's fine. That's great. But lockdown one was a really kind of weird time because work was the only time I had any kind of interaction with anyone. And we actually got bubbled at work. So I was working from home one week and then going into work the following week, and we'd alternate. So if one bubble went down, we wouldn't all get COVID. So I had this weird gap in my rota where for about 10 days, I would not see a single person. And that was probably the toughest time. That, and I went a bit crazy about masks. So I had a whole load of mask anxiety, but that's because when we went into work, we were constantly being told we might run out. That's another story. But yeah, that was probably the toughest aspect of this year, was that 3 months where I had this 10-day gap where there was no one. And I know I you know, any given opportunity, I'll talk about my cat, but honest to God, having a pet was just one of the best things in that first proper, like, you know, that really heavy lockdown that we had.
Yeah.
But the other thing was just, it was routine. So, you know, we were all doing weird things, weren't we? Like baking bread and all the rest of it. But for me, it was actually like getting up, training, going for a walk, making sure I did that every day. And that was really important because I realized that if I didn't do some exercise and didn't get out, that I'd go a bit bonkers at home alone. Like your mind goes into overdrive, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of identified that quite early on in terms of before the lockdown was coming, when we realized that we're going to go into some sort of national lockdown where we have to stay at home and things are going to close. We quickly, as a team, spoke about it and we said, like, you know, people's lives are going to be almost chaotic. Their normal routine's going to go out the window and it's going to be a bit of a weird time. So what we should do is try to provide some sort of routine and some sort of normality for people and some sort of structure in their lives by helping with nutrition and training and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
and you really did. God, did you help? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to provide that we were able to be a small part of your day with that as well, though. That was our aim, to be a small part of everyone's day where we could just give them some virtual screen time to escape from the real life.
Yeah. But, you know, that small part of your day was a massively important part of my day, because that might have been the only interaction I'd have with anyone. Unless, you know, obviously you video call your friends and everything. But that was a very, very important part of the first lockdown, was having that.
Yeah. And I think people who don't work out don't necessarily know the benefits you get from a mind perspective, where you just get to, you almost, I wouldn't say, oh, you're training so hard that you can't think, but like you kind of are in a sense as well. Like, not that you're working out and you're literally like, oh, I'm going to die. But I mean, you're working out and you're more focused on doing an exercise correctly or breathing or catching your breath or like that sort of thing that you don't get. You get like almost, whether it's microseconds in a workout or long 5-minute periods where you don't think about anything but
absolutely
what you're doing.
Completely. It sounds a bit weird, but I find it a really mindful activity. So I work out. Obviously, it's nice to be fit. I like to be strong. Like, I feel empowered by that. But my main reason for working out is because it's good for my mental health and my mental well-being. And from that, everything feels better. And yeah, I mean, the actual process of working out, it's the social interaction. And it's the fact that you don't, like you say, you don't think about anything else. You just think about, how am I going to lift this weight and how am I going to do it with good form, get the most out of it. Yeah, it is a very mindful activity.
It's a bit like meditation is supposed to be when you do it correctly. And what I mean by that is people think that meditation is completely losing yourself and being in a zone and things like that. But it's more about being present. And like when you hear about, not that I meditate regularly, but whenever I've done it through guided meditation, it's done in a way that they tell you to kind of try to bring yourself back. You're allowed to have thoughts, but just let them go again. And with training, it's the same thing. Like you do get distracted. You start thinking about things that you have to do. But because you know you need to get on with the next exercise or the next set, or your rest period's up, you're brought back to focusing on the here and now very quickly.
Yep, absolutely. And actually, something that I never appreciated, because as you know, I only started group training when COVID hit because of the way everything worked out. And I used to just do one-to-one training. But the nice thing about group training is that there's no hiding. You can't just go to the gym and just do a little bit. And, there's no hiding. Everyone's watching. And it, obviously in a really friendly way. But you have to get on with it. You can't just let your mind just be like, oh, la, la, la,
Yeah.
It's actually quite a good thing with group training that I hadn't really realised.
Yeah, there's an accountability factor that comes with like training with other people. If
Definitely.
You're all on the same page, because sometimes if you're chatting with a friend or something in a workout, you both can just end up not working out and end up chatting.
Yeah, but yeah, sometimes the chat's good, isn't it? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's balancing it, like as in using training as a way to actually get some benefits of training as well as like the social aspect of it and that whole enjoyment and not taking the fun out of it.
Yeah.
So you said like your why is to do with like kind of keeping you basically your mental health in good condition and things like that. When you did get started, which is quite a while ago with training and just even before you started with me, what was it that drove you to get started on your journey?
So I was having a bit like my 20s. I struggled through my 20s and I was having a bit of a bad time of it. And there wasn't really a big thought process like, this is what I'm going to do that is going to help me. But I think I just went to the gym one day and I what I used to do was just get on. What did I used to do? I used to like get on like a rowing machine for 10 minutes and then I'd get on the cross trainer for another 10 minutes and then I'd get on the rower and then I'd go home and I was just like, I'm sick of this. I'm bored of this.
Yeah, basically doing random shit.
Yeah. And I was always really, I was scared to go in the weights area. I was always a bit intimidated. I didn't know how anything worked. And you know what, Ben? The reason that because as you know, but other people might not know, but the reason that I asked you if you would train me, was just because you were really nice and friendly and smiley and just really just not intimidating in any way.
It's because I was a chubby, slim, short personal trainer, isn't it? So I didn't look like the other trainers.
No, but you were just nice and non-threatening. All the trainers there at that time were really nice people.
No, I'm only messing around. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just was like, oh, he's such a nice guy. Let me try. And that there was literally no other big thought process. I just thought I need to mix it up in life a little bit. I need something. Don't know what I need. Let me try this. And initially, I don't know whether I've ever told you this, but I didn't really like it.
What, as in the training with me?
For the first session, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I was panicking.
I see.
And then you gave me, you were really nice. You gave me a program to do. And I was really lazy that week and I didn't do it. And the following week, you were like, have you done it? I went, no. And you look so upset. You weren't cross, but you look so kind of like, just like hurt by it. I was like, oh, I swore, sorry.
No, you can swear on this if you want.
Anyway, I And I remember you just looking so upset. I was like, God, I better do this next week because he'll check next week. Because, like, I am a people pleaser. I'm a bit better now, but I was awful back then. And then actually, when I did it the following week, I was like, this is actually really good. I like this. But that is how it started.
Ah, okay. So my evil plan worked. My master plan worked in the end.
There you go.
Yeah. So what I think a lot of people do when they first start with the gym is they do what you did and just do random stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't really see any progress and they don't really see any results really because there's no system to what they're doing. And what I try to do when you first start with anyone or when you start with us now is give you some sort of structure and some sort of routine. Basically what we try to do with the people, all of our members in the pandemic, is what we do with every new member whenever they join, is give them some sort of structure, some sort of routine, so they have things to follow up with. And that usually gives you really good results straight away.
Yeah, but you give more than the structure and routine. And I don't know whether you realize it, but you give the confidence to go and do it. So, and it's little things like, I remember not knowing how to put clips on the end of the weights and being too nervous to ask anyone in the gym. Those are things that, like, training with you guys, just like, oh, how do I do this? Oh, you do it this way. There's no kind of worry about any of those things. And when you start out, even those little things are quite, in a gym environment can be quite nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I think a lot of experienced gym goers, especially personal trainers, forget about what it's like to do something, to be a new person. Like, I remember when, after doing it for so long and being in the same gym, training in the same gym, like, you get very confident in what you're doing, in your routine, the way you do things, and you forget what it's like for a new person to come into the gym. And I remember I went to a new gym because, do you remember when the old gym that we used to be at flooded?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to train somewhere else for a couple of weeks, and I remember going there and feeling very nervous about where should I warm up? Do people know what I'm like? What do they think I know what I'm doing? Getting the squat rack ready, that sort of thing. And then, even though I was a personal trainer and knew exactly what to do, I thought, the other trainer's like kind of thinking, does he know what he's doing? And because they don't know I'm a trainer, all these little thoughts go through your head just because you're in a new environment. And that's someone who knows exactly what they're doing. So imagine someone who has no clue what they're doing going into a gym. And I know what that feels like because I was there as well before. But it's something a lot of experienced trainers and trainees forget.
Yeah.
And it's a way of humbling yourself when you start something new. I remember when I first started gymnastics and I was like a complete beginner in it. It was like, it's the same thing. Everything was scary. You didn't know where to sit even in the room or where to stand or who to talk to. And it can make you really remember what other people are going through and then kind of change that process. And that's why we try and onboard new members in a very comfortable, gentle way, as opposed to like, the thing that people think training is about, like just beasting yourself and having a really insane hard workout. It's almost like some trainers wear that as like a badge of honor. Like, how much can I make someone hurt in a session and make them feel sick and that sort of thing? And that's really, really not what training is about and how to get results either.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So how have you been so consistent with regular exercise for all this time? What's been your way of like kind of getting that way?
I guess overall I am quite consistent, but I have my ups and downs like we all do. But I think the thing for me was having the accountability. That's what I need, because I got an inner lazy person in me. If I could just sit down and drink tea, and eat biscuits, and I would do that.
Yeah.
That's not to say I make myself train. Like, I obviously enjoy it, but I need accountability. So training with you for all those years, knowing that I would have a one-to-one session, that everything that I, all my training stuff was logged, that I could see my progression, all those things And now, having a training group now where people will text me and go, oh, why weren't you at your normal session? And, and training with Sadie, who is like oh God, love her. I love Sadie. She is the eye of Sauron. She sees everything, you can't like skip a rep. You can't do anything because she knows. And she's got this lovely sort of gentle way, very kind way of just pushing you just a little bit without you feeling pushed. But these are the things that keep you consistent. In my opinion, it's the accountability and the training group, the people I've met along the way. I think.
And you said something actually like that a lot of people may not realize that is so important. That you said about tracking your progress when it comes to like having a training log. What benefits has that given to you, just tracking your progress and having a training log?
Yeah, I mean, because sometimes you just have these awful fat days, don't you? Where you have a day where you just feel rubbish and you just think, oh, I'm not getting anywhere. And then you look at your log and you think, actually, 2 months ago, I was lifting, X number of kilos, and now I'm lifting double that. So it helps. It's real numbers, isn't it? Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
And so it just helps keep your mind on track. When you're thinking, oh, it's all rubbish, it's all crap. It's that actual, it's the numbers, it's the reality of it. It's being able to, see your progress in a different way that isn't just your perception of it.
Yeah, I think getting out of your feelings is definitely something everyone should do. And that works both ways. So sometimes like, where you feel like, I'm fine, I'm doing all right, like, I look okay, I feel okay, and then you track your numbers in terms of like whether it's putting on some jeans or putting on a t-shirt that you haven't worn in a while, and you're like, oh, this is actually quite tight. I didn't think that I was letting myself go into. And then I'm not saying that's a bad thing if a t-shirt's tight on you. I just mean if it does feel uncomfortable to you, having that reality check and having that measurable progress is a way of keeping yourself on track. And the same way, having other measures of progress, not just focusing on like how you look or your weight, and having like, training markers where you're looking at whether your strength is improving, whether your fitness is improving, all these other things that that you may note as well. Like some people track mood and things like that.
Yeah. I think also, tracking what weights you're lifting and what you're doing for me was really good, because I am part of training is feeling stronger, and feeling stronger makes me feel more empowered. And so seeing that progress actually is quite important for me as well.
So you're talking about feeling stronger now. A lot of people will have goals when they come into fitness of losing weight and things like that. And you did as well. One of your goals right from the start though was quite strength orientated. Like you did want you always wanted to look more toned. You always wanted to build muscle. You've never been one of these women who didn't care about that side of things. What would you say to someone who necessarily may not think anything of that side of things? So they just come into the gym, all they want to do is focus on losing weight. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. That's how I got into training. I didn't really care about the other sides of things and getting strong. It was just about looking good. How has that benefited you in terms of staying on track and that sort of thing? I know you just touched on it, but
lifting weights, do you mean, or
just focusing on strength as opposed to just focusing on like body stats of like body image?
Yeah, I think everything in life for all of us is, and I get that this is for men too, but there's so much on women about looking a certain way and dressing a certain way, and sometimes doing something that doesn't focus on all of that is just about feeling good is actually quite nice. It's nice not to have to think, oh, I'm a size 12 and I want to be a size 10. Actually, chuck the numbers out the window. Don't think about that too much. Just do something that feels good for you, because everything else will follow from that. Because once you start working out and, doing a bit more, then actually, well, for me, what happens is that I always eat better. And then because I'm eating better, I feel less sluggish. And then I'm more active. It's like this good circle that keeps getting better and better. And so if you focus on just, can I fit into my jeans today? It's actually quite a depressing thing to focus on, isn't it? Well, maybe depressing is the wrong word, but it's
No, I think you're right.
You put them on, they're still tight. But actually, what else? There have been lots of other positive things that you might have got in the past, well, however long you've been training. So,
yeah, I think you're absolutely right there, because it's one thing that we definitely do with everyone, and we purposefully do it with everyone. Like I did it with you when you first started, is not just set body goals. Because even if your body goal is your main objective, it can become, like you said, very depressing and a very negative journey when you're making slow progress, because it's not going to happen overnight. Especially if you're not quite there yet, and you're not someone who looks at all you've achieved and you just constantly look at where you're at now.
Yeah.
And compare yourself to where you once were or where you want to be, or other people's progress. So having other markers of progress is really, really important on anyone's journey to longevity of training, and especially enjoying the process. Because one thing we do is tell everyone, set training goals. And what we mean by that is set goals, whether you're trying to perform a certain exercise or trying to lift a certain number or get fitter or get stronger in a core exercise or that sort of thing. And then lifestyle goals as well, whether it's improving sleep quality, improving your nutrition, improving energy levels. So that you have other benefits of training. And I think that's the only way to have a long journey in this, and also have a positive journey as well.
Yeah, agreed.
Because those other things may even come a bit quicker, and they can be more motivating, because you can directly impact them quite quickly and quite measurably. So like you could put on a little bit more weight on the bar the next time you lift, because you know that that's going to make you feel stronger, or make you know that you've made progress. Whereas like the weights, the scale weight and the jeans fitting a bit looser is a byproduct of other things like nutrition and regularly walking and regularly training and that sort of thing. And sleeping well. So if you set the goals, if you set more process goals as opposed to end objective goals, you're going to have a lot better quality of a journey, and basically more of a positive journey as well. Yeah,
definitely.
So what has training now helped you overcome in terms of, you said like with mental health and things like that, like how have you found it impacted your life so far in the grand scheme?
I think training definitely keeps me on track. So I have a session, I feel really good afterwards. So that's whatever those chemicals are, endorphins or whatever, I suppose. But also when I'm training consistently, I eat a lot better. I'm more kind of towards the end of the day, I'm more physically tired, so I sleep better. I always, in terms of kind of my mental health as well, routine's really good for me. So getting up, training, going to work, doing I find that very helpful. So all the, it kind of, training is the thing that makes everything else easier for me. So I'm not sure I've articulated that very well, but lots of good things come from it that are all positive in my happiness, really.
Yeah, I think I get what you're touching on. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've heard this concept before. I'm not sure where I heard it from. It's called anchoring your day. So where one thing anchors the rest of your day to make it kind of like go in the way that you may want it to, or you having some sort of control over your day. Especially right now. So I think a lot of people may have like random days where, when you just have those days where you literally don't know what you achieved, what you accomplished, and
Yeah, there's
what,
kind of
where,
purposeless days.
yeah, like it's just gone,
Yeah.
and you just
Yeah.
don't know what you even did that day.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have those days every day, even though they're doing the same thing every day, because they may not have an anchor point in their day. And I find having something like training in the morning or training in the evening, or even in the middle of the day or whatever it is, having something that you do like kind of not every single day, but regularly, has like some sort of anchoring through your week or your day. And like I use breakfast at the moment, where I have the same thing every morning for breakfast and some sort of routine, and then that anchors the rest of the day. That gets me, because I know from that breakfast point, I know the next step is to do something. Like, I don't know, it might be exercise or it might be work, and that one thing anchors the rest of your day. And for you, it could literally be, it doesn't have to be working out. It could be brushing your teeth every morning. You could make that the anchor point of your day. You could make, I don't know, some people have like meditation or praying and that sort of thing that is their anchor point. Is that, am I on the right lines or?
Yeah. Except I think rather than just for the day, it's for like, it's the week. It's like, this is what I'm going to do this week. This is how I'm going to fit it all in. And my days that I will train will be, Tuesday and Friday. And I will go for a long walk on this day. It's just making sure that I've got it in there. So yeah. Anchoring. That's a nice way of explaining it. Yeah.
And I find a lot of people get the benefits from, one of the benefits people get from training in terms of like having positive impacts, like you were saying, it's like a yo-yo effect, isn't it? Like training provides a lot more positivity and more kind of other benefits across the rest of the day, like that you find that you work a little bit better because you've got more mental clarity in the morning.
Definitely. Yeah. So the primary benefit from training obviously is the health one. But it's the secondary benefits, isn't it? So you're right. So I'm definitely better in the morning when I've trained. I'm far more switched on. I always eat a healthier lunch. I have more energy. All those things are like these nice secondary benefits from having a workout in the morning. I'm just a morning person, but whatever suits.
So what causes you to go off track? Like when you are in a good routine, which you seem like you are right now, but all these things kind of give you positive benefits, but nothing goes perfectly in life. Like,
God, no.
And I know from experience from, helping you for so many years, there's been points where you're not regular with training. Or you may just train with me once a week, and then the rest of the week you don't get your own sessions in. What's what do you do to kind of get back on track, or like just get back into the swing of things, I guess, with nutrition and stuff like that?
For me, it's always stress. When I'm stressed, I don't sleep. And when I don't sleep, I don't train. And then I stop training, and then I eat crap. And then I feel stressed about that. And then it all just turns into a big stress ball. But I guess just over the years, because I've been doing this for so long, you just sort of, you give yourself a little bit of a talking to, well, that's what I do. Because, stress, external stresses aren't going away, are they?
No.
We all have jobs, relationships, all these things that are just always going to be there. But I've just got better at recognizing that what I need to do is have a really, go to bed early one night, and make sure I finish work on time, have a decent dinner, go to bed early, and wake up and train the following morning, and try and reset that way rather than another late night and another sleepless night. And also the other thing is, I've got, building a support network around you is really good. So the chances are, if I'm stressed, one of my friends is, one of the friends I train with is, and you just, you talk about it, and then one of you nudges the other one. There's a lot to be said for a strong group of people around you.
No, I think that's a really good, the first one and the second one actually that you said there, like having a reset point is, definitely just like kind of hitting reset and realizing that, it doesn't need to continue. And I think a lot of people forget that. They get caught up in their feelings. And you have to remember, like you said, regardless, you hit reset, you still, regardless of how you feel, you train the next day. I think I always say this to people, like, try not to think about the moment and how you feel now, but think about how you want to feel.
Yeah.
So like, if you don't want to be stuck in a rut and you don't want to feel shit about yourself, even though you feel that way right now, you don't feel like training, what is it that you'd like to feel? Focus on that benefit as opposed to where you are now and what you're stuck in. And then that way, you're more likely to make the decision you know you need to, as opposed to the one you want to.
Yeah. And the thing that really helps me is that I feel like everyone has the power to change things within themselves.
Yeah.
So it's within you. So I know that I can do it if I want to. I just have to put my mind to it, basically.
Yeah.
Everyone's got the power. And I know sometimes when you're in a funk, you don't have it in you, but you can do it.
But don't you think that you feel like that because you've trained that muscle a bit almost?
Yeah. God,
because like when you're someone who's not, I don't mean you've not accomplished anything, because obviously everyone's accomplished something in their day, whether it's someone who's really, really struggling to get out of bed every morning because they're going through the lowest time in their life. That is an accomplishment. And
Absolutely.
so is deadlifting their absolute max, which is like 3 times their body weight or whatever, and they're some superstar athlete. That's another this realm of accomplishments on another spectrum. But how do you channel that when you don't feel confident? Do you get what I mean? Like when you aren't feeling the best, it's very difficult to do that when you haven't practiced that kind of resilience almost.
Resilience. One of the things that I do is, you told me this actually, sometimes I just fake it till I make it, because there are days I wake up and I feel so grumpy, and I do a job where I am seeing patients all day, and when you're a patient, you don't want to see someone that's grumpy. So I go in, I slap a smile on my face, and I get on with it. And then after an hour of doing that, it doesn't feel like I'm faking it. I'm actually all right.
No, I love that one.
It's great. Honestly, it works. It really does. So I do that a lot. Fake it till I make it. And I find it really helpful.
Yeah. It's that almost asking yourself, who do I need to be right now?
Yeah.
And I've found that one useful as well, where with being a dad at home right now and stuff is very challenging, and I think you can feel very like annoyed and pissed off and stuff, but I always do the same thing you're saying, is like, I ask myself, who do I need to be right now? What do my partner and my children need to see? Not how do I feel? And I know that's a bit like, you're like, oh, but isn't that just a lot of pressure on yourself? Like, sometimes you have to put that, and you have to think about the bigger picture as opposed to what you feel. And you can allow yourself that moment to feel that way in your own time, but don't let it impact other people. And maybe we've gone off a bit track here, but like, as in, I find that one useful as well, like in terms of really, I use it in my own personal life as opposed to with training, but it really definitely works, that one. And like you said as well, having a support group around you, and a lot of people will struggle with that one, because say you're in a household where you're the only one who's trying to make a change to your health and your fitness and stuff. It's very difficult to do that. Very difficult. And I remember from when like my family went into the whole fitness things and I was living at home, it was a little bit more challenging to eat well and like kind of overcome the comments from people like, oh, you're weighing your food, or why are you tracking your calories, or or you can't eat that. And it's just like, it gets so annoying. And when it's family, you don't just go like a colleague at work, you might just go, you be friendly and polite about it. At home, you just want to punch someone's face.
Yeah, you have an all-out Barney over it.
Yeah. So how have you overcome anything like that, if you have had to deal with that?
Yeah, I kind of because I can just eat what I want when I want, and I can weigh my food, and I have no one judges me,
apart from the cat.
from living alone. It's easy. I've not had that. I actually have, like in terms of kind of keeping on track with food, the only person that hinders me is me, you know. So I don't really have. Yeah,
Well, you've
I
had it
don't have a
actually.
lot.
No, there's one area I remember you used to struggle with is when you used to go for lunch with a few colleagues. Do you remember? And they used to eat a lot. I think it was a couple of guys you went to work with, and then you used to kind of try and keep up with them in terms of like, I'm gonna order burger and chips.
I
And
can eat this too. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I used to
yeah.
be like, oh, but why are you trying to eat like them if
That's
that's
right.
not?
I've forgotten about that. We'd go to
Yeah.
Nando's sometimes when we used to get lunch breaks about 15 years ago. It doesn't happen anymore. Well, maybe not 15 years, but yeah, we used to go to Nando's a few years ago on a Thursday, and they'd all order these giant plates of food, and I'd order one too to be part of the gang, and then I'd be like, God, I feel like rubbish. And 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd want a nap. Yeah, I do remember that. But again, that wasn't them saying you need to eat more. That was me being like, I want to be part of the gang. It's just silly.
I think a lot
So
of people allow themselves. You're absolutely right. It's still you. You're in control, and I think
yeah,
you can't let external factors sway you. You have to kind
yeah,
of. Often, what people do is they look for an excuse. I think I said this on the last podcast episode, but often people look for an excuse to do something, and you can just as equally be the other side of the voice. Like, I don't know if you've heard the tale of the two wolves kind of thing, where like there's one, you basically, I don't know if it's like some ancient thing there actually is anything to it, but it's like two wolves within you, a good one and a bad one, and the one that wins and the one that stays alive is the one you feed. So if you constantly feed the voice that's telling you to not work out and not train and eat what you want, and while eating what you want is not a bad thing, I just generally mean like eating junk food and stuff that you don't want to do, you will do that because you're telling yourself to do that. Whereas if your voice is constantly telling you, no, you can work out or you can do this, and you build that voice and you strengthen that voice, that's the voice that will always win. And I think what you've become probably really good at is building that voice. And we were talking about, like you're good at like, overcoming that resilience and just saying, no, I need to reset and stuff.
but I wasn't always good at it. It's practice. I tell you,
Exactly.
it's practice. You've got to really work at it. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so anyone who's listening thinking, like, it's easy for you guys to say you've been doing it for years. I think you just need to start training that voice, because your other voice, I'm not saying it's a bad voice, but the voice that's maybe not helping you out at the moment is strong. It's super strong because you've used it for so long, and now you just need to build the other voice. And that the way you build that is by doing things that basically training that voice. So say like you said, I'm going to put my phone down when I'm scrolling after 5 minutes on social media, and you actually listen to that voice, you then feel empowered that you can do it again. It's a repeatable behavior. And then you get so strong.
10 minutes next time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get so strong at it that you don't even pick up your phone with a notification comes on. And it's the same thing with training and things like that. Like, because you realize that you are, you've started to train and you've got regular routine and you've built up those kind of habits, it becomes easier to repeat. And I think you just have to get into that routine of doing it. And that's the only way you can actually do that is by starting. Unfortunately, you can't sit on the sidelines.
That's the hardest bit. That is the hardest bit, is starting.
What would your advice be then to kind of finalize and just put an end point to this podcast episode? If you were someone who is where you were when you first got started, didn't know what you're doing, you were kind of like in a place where you didn't really enjoy training, especially with the trainer you were training with.
It was so funny.
What would you say to someone to kind of like just encourage them, to inspire them?
Do you know, I think what I'd say is if you're feeling like you're not sure what you're doing and you're feeling very, you don't feel very confident what you're doing, find a good support group. People that will teach you, will be supportive of you. Because that ultimately, that is what I found with you and with Body and Beyond. And that's the bottom line, really. That is why I keep training. I train for lots of reasons, but that has definitely helped with my confidence and keeping me going. So I think if you're feeling less confident about things, find someone that will teach you, and in a non-threatening way, in a way where you won't feel silly. That would be my advice.
Well, that's amazing advice, and I'm glad that you plugged us as well. But obviously you find we fit your values, so that's why you gel well with us. And I'm not saying it, and everyone won't fit well with us. We won't be the right fit for everyone, but find whoever is the right fit for you. And I think that's great advice and a great place to end. I just want to thank you for your time, Shima. It's been incredible.
Lovely to speak to you. Very nice.
If you've been listening for this long, I would like you to just screenshot your phone right now and tag us in basically on your stories. So over on Instagram, just tag me. I am Vim Patel. And Shima, do you want people to tag you?
I don't mind. I don't know how that works.
What's your Instagram handle? I bet you don't even remember.
I think it's Shim Shom or something like that. I don't know.
Okay, well, so the people, I'll put it in the links, and then people can find you if they want to find you.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, guys.
Oh.
Please leave us a review. Let us know your thoughts, and we will catch you on the next episode. Take care. Over and out.